Ma, ma.
Get out.
Now, it's
Baat hai.
crazy.
You're my friend.
This is really me trying to be as cool as I can.
You're not cool. I'm just sad. Hi, I'm Prakriti,
I am Rhea.
and you're watching.
Two peas on a pod. When you go with your parents as a kid, you tell yourself that I will come here again on my own to do 5 things I want to do.
Mhm.
And then when you get a chance to do that,
Mhm.
when you're doing it, sometimes less seems more wholesome than
Mhm.
just covering like a 8-hour day of going to 15 sightseeing places. Do you think it's an age thing, or do you think it's just us balancing the
Could
social
be
media
both.
onset?
One is because my idea of what a place offers has changed because I lived away in Chicago for an extended period of time. So I left for Chicago. I realized that a place is not captured and symbolized by its most popular hotspots, but by everyday life. I literally spend the day in a new country as I would in Mumbai. I wake up, I get breakfast. So when I went to Pondicherry, I would get breakfast from a local thela because here I might have gone to get some idli vada. In Japan, that would mean going to a 7-Eleven or just
Okay,
going for a
wherever it's
run around
convenient.
the
Yeah,
neighborhood
yeah.
because that's what I would have done. Then get your breakfast. Typically, after breakfast, I'm working a little bit. And so, ideally, in a new country, I want to open my laptop in a cafe and sit. Nice place where, maybe the coffee is recommended or the tea is recommended. And then lunch, then hang around, go to one touristy spot or like hang out in the parks, and then gone to a fancy or nicer dinner place and or a bar or whatever, right? Like the cooler parts of town where the nightlife is buzzing. This is how I would have spent even a typical day in Mumbai. And for me, I think the FOMO element reduced because I said, okay, what does a city offer? It offers more than its tourist places. And to capture it, you have to just live a normal day. That's one thing, is the better you get to know yourself, the more you know what you want out of that travel also, or what is more important to you in the big picture. For me, say books, stories, and films are very important. There is something called the Umeda Tower in Osaka. It's one of the tallest buildings. And there's a nice philosophy where you enter and they have put a lot of history of what height has meant to humanity. But the tower itself is very sci fi, futuristic kind of a construction. But it's also a theater. It's the Umeda Theater where you'll see now, a display of all the movies that are now screening. And Prakriti would have liked to do the theater, not just the tower. I will definitely visit a bookstore everywhere I go in the world. And I'll pick up a book of a language I'll never understand or never learn to read. So I'll go to Kerala, I'll go to an independent bookstore and pick up a Malayalam book if no translation
What
is
a
not.
lovely memento.
I'll go to a library, a public library, because most countries in the world have lovely public libraries. So I chart my journey now based on my interests: food, books, movies. So if I go to South Korea, I definitely will go to the spots where some of my favorite dramas were shot because that's my connection to it.
Correct.
And that's a lot of
Correct.
people's connection to it.
Prakriti bought a stack of lemongrass from Phuket. So here we were buying clothes and like accessories, alcohol, or anything that is relevant to take home to use. And Prakriti was buying lemongrass because she got a Thai paste from there. It was a
A
local
local
paste,
market, yeah, literally
and
a
she said,
local
"I'm gonna
APM.
go back to I'm gonna go back to Bombay, and I'm going to make this particular whatever Thai curry, and I'm going to add the local lemongrass that I get
And
from
Thai
there."
curry paste.
So I can believe you
And I was
when you
going
do that.
perfect because I was going to end with I will always go to grocery store. And so I will do local things and I will live life. And I don't mean local things as in branded local, but live life the same way in a different country as you would in your city. But that's now. Like that wisdom or that piece of being on the move but also feeling at home comes now. Obviously, I've done my share of, oh, we haven't done this, oh, we haven't done this, oh my god, we missed this in the trip. But I'm glad I'm not in that phase anymore.
Lately, when I've been opening Instagram, I feel like everybody on my feed is in Japan. Every single person.
So was I.
And you were also in Japan, but I feel like everyone's just going there. I'm not being able to understand, is it some memo that I am not getting, some craze, some anime culture, or some obsession that everybody is rushing to Japan?
My theory is, of course, because it's cherry blossom season. Also, because now Japan is a lot more affordable. The yen is literally half the value of the rupee.
Is
So, almost half, I think 0.6 paise. INR to
Hmm.
1 yen, which makes shopping in Japan a heaven. This was the most unusual trip I've made
Hmm.
because one, it was with family and not like my parents and my immediate family, but my cousins and my uncle and aunt. And I travel very differently from a typical Gujarati family. So I was very nervous going into it, but I wanted to do it because I wanted to spend that time with my sisters. And my mom was paying for it, so why not?
I love adult decisions. The
Yeah, I'm
best.
32, cannot afford that trip to Japan by myself. But that guilt aside, and we'll come to the guilt later, I had no part to play in the planning, in the application process, even in the research, because I was trying to make up for the 10 days I would be away from work. My cousins did the research, my friends did the research, and they would send me reels like, Prakriti, do this, do that. And I had no time to look at the reels, make a plan, look at I didn't even know my itinerary till I was at the airport. And then I opened the itinerary that I got from the tours and travels. I'm like, oh, these are the things we're doing. What can we skip? What should we not do? What should we be doing instead? I only began to think about it once we cleared immigration at Mumbai airport.
That is so unlike you, because every time I feel like when we've traveled together, you're so go, 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 go. You have like such, she's so organized when she travels. She has like a culture list, then she has like a, like a party if we want to go like recreational things, that list. And then she has like a proper food list that I have to go eat this, 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like I give the onus to Prakriti that you figure this out. I will do the logistics. I'll do whatever is in my place, like the planning, the flights. I'll do all of those things.
She's a flight girl.
Yeah, but then you do whatever we have to do there when we reach.
I was blind into it because I also don't know Japan that well. Yes, I know about Kintsugi and Ikigai and Wabi Sabi, and I know those cultural zeitgeist moments. But I don't know Japan a lot. I don't watch that much anime. I don't watch Japanese drama all that much. But I didn't even know the concept of public onsens, which is the public hot spring baths that you have in Japan.
You do?
I did not, yeah, and I didn't know anything, which I thought was a very interesting thing because then you go to a place, most of your day is figured out. So the first day we tried to take a little time away from the tour, go to Donkey, do a lot of shopping.
That's only correct.
Yeah, and you want to do things in unconventional places because if it's a tourist place, it's going to be very crowded. So we didn't want that. So we checked it off our list, paid a lot of money for Uber. Japan, never Uber, it's expensive. We paid 20,000 rupees in shopping, 5,000 rupees, one fourth. Yeah, it was expensive. I would wake up really early, 6 o'clock or 5:36, get ready really fast, and take a walk around the neighborhood of the hotel. Nothing.
That was your me time.
That was my me time. I would
Okay.
go to the first thing I was go to 7-Eleven, Family Mart, or Lawson, which are the convenience stores of Japan, and I love them. And I would come back, eat hotel breakfast. Whatever local cuisine I wanted to try, I would have wanted to try. I tried it at the buffets. They'd have these udon noodles, life counter. They'd have some sort of the dashi omelette and things like that. So I'd grab as much breakfast as I could, and we'd be on our way. Because I had a heavy breakfast, I would skip lunch, or I would not eat lunch with the tour. Again, I would go walking around the neighborhood.
You chose your moments very clearly.
Yeah, and so it's still very fulfilling to do it. And now that I come back, and now that my feed is also filled with Japan stories, I'm okay. I'm like, it's not like I missed a lot. I would have loved to do a hike and go on like ramen hopping and things like that. But I was fine. I was like, "Theek I could at least do 60% of my trip the way I would have done it." And then there's all this upside of spending time with family and fighting with family and being irrational with each other because you're 12 days together.
Family trips can be
Family
fun.
trips.
Yeah, it can be fun.
And I would encourage everybody to just go with empty bags to Japan. Like literally take a backpack, one night's worth of toiletries and clothing, and basic skincare. Go to Japan, keep like 10,000 rupees as a not even 10,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees as like a starting pack budget. Go to 7-Eleven, pick up everything: band-aids, first aid, cold medicine, snacks, locks, TSA locks.
Prakati,
Everything.
your checklist is something I can never get to. I don't know how do you go from beer to cold medicine in 5 minutes.
Because 7-Eleven will literally let you do that.
I
And
wish we had
I
done
think
that.
it's just nicer when you go with empty bags because Japan has that much cute stuff to offer. Also,
Of course.
everyday cute stuff like their skin care is better, their hair care is better. That's what you're missing. It's the cherry blossom, it's the quiet, the stationery stores you're missing. You're missing Uniqlo and GU.
That I miss for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think our generation, like a lot of us who have sort of enabled ourselves into now being able to do the things that we've always dreamt of doing, sort of get pressurized by the guilt of saying, "Yeah, I had fun," even though they didn't?
Good choice of word of guilt because for me personally, I don't care about that. I find honesty to be a lot easier now. The guilt that truly hits me and makes me cry and I probably tear up, hopefully not tear up on the podcast, is that I've seen struggle to privilege. We've seen what it's like as children to travel once in a while to India, you know, where my dad would like save up for 2 years and plan his next 2 years based on which trip the family can take and sacrifice much of the luxury he would have probably afforded himself to now being able to say, oh, I went to Japan and blew up a shopping budget on myself. So the guilt for me really is, but my parents were not there. They didn't get to do this for themselves.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's real.
and so then there's pressure to what can I get them? What is the gift I can get them? Those pressures I think are still very high. Because effectively we are the first generation, and I think I'm like a lot more Indians. For me, privilege is not a first generation inheritance. It's we've seen it. We're very comfortable now, tutu, but I've seen the worst days and what it takes to get to this place. So I think then when I'm traveling, it's like shit, I'm spending so much money. Do I deserve to spend money? Have I earned it? Have I earned my right to do it?
Just spend money.
Because it's not
Yeah.
all mine. You know, I'm very well aware that I get like full support from family um in all parts of life, that even if it was all of my money as in to my name, is technically just borrowed because I'm not paying rent, I'm not paying for groceries. I think that guilt is really evidently high. Not so much to say that I didn't have fun, because if I didn't, I didn't. I'm not shy about that truth.
My understanding of travel has changed as time has passed.
Because in your 20s, general tendency is that the social pressure to do some of the hotspots, do some of those widely popular things is much higher.
Hmm.
And the FOMO element is higher. It was for me.
Yeah,
Like if I went to Thailand
Hmm.
and I had not gone to New York bar, and we had not gone to New York bar, and now everyone talks about it.
Up-
We stumbled
walked
into it
into
because we didn't like the fancy place we went to, and we said, okay, let's roam around, and we found this place, and we entered, and we vibed with it so much we went there the next night. Never part of the we researched it list. Illusions was part of it. New York was not.
You
What
know what
about
the-
you? Because you've been traveling a lot more, I will say, in the last 4 years than I have ever heard you even want to travel. And but now she's taken solo trips with people from her friends who are in different countries.
Yeah.
You've gone what, Dubai, Turkey, Bali,
Yeah. Bangkok.
all in 3 years.
Yeah.
Thailand, all of us went to
Yeah,
Thailand together.
Bangkok.
So what has that relationship been like for you?
I think my definition of travel keeps changing with the kind of company that I go with.
Mm.
I feel like I pick up a lot of energy from the people that I am with. But I also have realized that although I'm okay with that, I somehow get opportunities where I get to carve like 2 hours for myself on that particular trip. This was my Turkey trip, which I took for my birthday, which was another whole story. Like, so I took it with a friend of mine who stays in Dubai, and up until one day before leaving, she hadn't gotten her visa. So I have booked my tickets. After canceling 2 flights,
I'll be sharing
she
that.
is in Dubai. She's saying my passport has gone for stamping, and she said that okay, it's gone for stamping. I don't know when I'm going to get it, and I told her I am at the airport. I'm boarding a plane to Muscat. I hope by the time I reach Muscat, you're there. She said, and she's very confidently said, हाँ हो जाएगा. And both of us having zero understanding of kaise hone wala, because literally the visa is not in our hands. Because now that we've come all the way, we've come so far and we've done all of this, we've planned the whole thing. We went for the hot air balloon ride, which we woke up at 5 a.m. in the morning and we said, we're going to go for this. And we're gonna
Sunrise.
go and do sunrise and, all of those things. And we could see like these big hot air balloons, getting like firing it up. And it's a surreal sort of an experience. And then we went on top and we saw like the whole thing. And it was nice. Okay. It was nice. And both of us were just waiting for the other person to react. That are you like enjoying this? Are you thinking that this is cool? So Cappadocia has a lot of stone formations, and that's what you're doing. The entire idea of it is that you're cruising across the entire bit of Cappadocia, just seeing these. It's a whole vibe, and you're on top, and it's amazing. Fun thing, we both did not know that whether or not we're scared of heights, but we went into that particular box.
I love
After we got into it, she said, "Listen, but what if like I have vertigo?" And I told her I anyway have a fear of heights. So I said, bro, like what if I look down and it's gone? She said, now we'll see. Now that we are here,
We'll find out.
yeah, we'll find out. I think we really got over the whole fear aspect of it, but we were just like, now that we're here, let's do it. This is where I'm talking about the FOMO bit. I'd feel bad if I come to Cappadocia and not do the hot air balloon, because I'd feel like I missed out on something.
Now I'm not there.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm saying I was that kind of person back then. Great trip. All of that happened. Cut to, we went back to Istanbul, which is one of my favorite cities in the world. I don't think I've seen anything like it. There is something magical about that city. We were supposed to go for a cruise. It was my birthday, the day of my it was my birthday, and she said that let's do something fun,
The
right?
day of my birth.
Wow,
articulate.
I've always felt like a birthday is something that needs to be celebrated with people, lots of people. So this was my on my birthday, and we were just sitting, we were chilling, we're not doing anything great or whatever. And there is this particular cruise on the Bosphorus, which goes from morning to evening. So she asked me, she's like, "Do you want to do this?" And I was like, "It's a cruise, bro. What can we do? Like, what do you want to do?" And she's like, "Come now that we've come here, let's do something different. What we'll anyways, we'll go out at night, we'll go party, we'll do all of those things," because we were living at Taksim Square, which is the most happening sort of area at that point. And I told her, I said, "Yeah, cool, you know what, let's do it." And I booked the cruise on my birthday. I'm a little extra with like, you should do this for me type of thing. But I said, chalo theek hai, abhi ja hi rahe to karte hai. This is like fun only. One person, me, her. It's okay. Why not try something different? And the cruise starts at 4 o'clock, 4:30 to like say 6:30, which is like sundowner. And I went into it not knowing what it was. I was like, "Kya hoga kuch, mujhe kya pata." And we cruised from the European side to the Asian side. So it's an entire round. And that whole experience was, I can't even I can't even I can't verbalize what I felt, because there was a moment where I was on the boat. The sun is going, literally, it's setting, and I'm just going, and I'm in the moment. We're not doing anything. We're just on it, and the entire boat is going, and I just sat in that moment. There was calm. There was no noise. Just the seagulls and the sea, and just me on a boat alone, with nothing happening around me, no coffee, no champagne,
Magical.
nothing. And at that moment, I just told myself, wow, what a lovely birthday.
Then you stop performing
I think I
and you
did.
start just living in the moment, but really just mind, body, heart, and soul all aligned, and you just feel like complete.
Right. And I wasn't sure whether it was it again. I come back to the aging part of it, because I don't get it. But was it because I'm growing up? That's why this solitude feels far more uh,
Precious.
achievable or precious. That, oh, like at this point of my time, I can do this on my own. Or is it just that sometimes all you need a moment with yourself
Yeah.
to just process, or to just see the beauty, like in the film, in Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, when she says, right, where you are, enjoy that. And here we were, waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning, rushing for a sunrise
Yeah.
over the mountains. It was a hot air balloon, which is
Yeah.
amazing. I think it's I'm not saying it's bad.
Yeah.
It was a great experience, no doubt.
It's
Versus us just casually stumbling onto like a boat ride, which turned out to be one of the most magical sunsets of my life. I just took a moment to myself and I felt like, you know what? There are going to be a few moments in life where there's going to either it's going to be just you, or you're going to be with a bunch of strangers, or you're going to be with one person. Could be anyone, one person at that moment who's just present with you over there. And what matters is how calm you are with yourself to be able to take in that moment. Like you said, maybe performing, but the need to perform goes down, and the need to maybe inform yourself of what you really want becomes a big
and
bit
play into
bigger.
it. That's what I've been
Yeah.
thinking as you were
Yeah.
talking. But as we grow, or as we become more secure in ourselves, whatever happens faster. Unfortunately, in me, the growing up happened first. But then there's also the journey where you have to push back against it, right? Like, I have to be able to say, no, I don't want to party today. Which, as we famously found in Thailand, I did not want to for 7 nights. And I was very salty and did not enjoy the experience of the 7th night of partying, because one is, you know what you want, you know what your body needs and wants at that time, what your mind needs and wants at a particular time, right? Second, you're able to say no to everything else that would come in the way of you getting it. And third, you're doing this with people you genuinely love and are not just in it for the social clout or the fact that you've always hung out together, so you're hanging out together. But you have interrogated and like invested in their friendship, saying, okay, if being here with this one person means I have to say no to 20,000 other plans, it's still worth it. Like that's love and that's friendship, and that can exist with your parents or your romantic partner or your friends, right? That kind of intimate connection.
I think I am still grappling with that part of it, but I feel that there's some sort of a movement happening, and I'm not a part of that movement.
Yeah, it's
It does irk me.
So one thing I've noticed, if you go to Turkey or Bali, I'm almost there because you're posting it on social media so much. Your stories are almost live documentation of the moment. Um, do you do it out of pressure or because you genuinely want to almost live stream it? Or is it something like, oh, hey, I'm here, look at me? Honest answer.
Initially, it was out of pressure. It was from a space that, oh, I'm going here and you need to see what I'm doing because I'm so cool, and I'm like, I'm going here and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I'm better than everybody. But lately, what I've realized is that it is a lot more for me to remember the memories that I've created in that place. But somehow, and I can go back to my camera roll, I can visit it and I can do all of those things again. But I feel like I'm missing something out if I don't put it on Instagram. That is a very truthful answer. I feel like if I didn't put it on Instagram, it never happened. It only happened in my head.
Is there also reverse where Instagram itself influences what you're doing in your trip?
Not as much as I would like to put it.
Be honest.
Yeah, maybe.
You
Yeah.
start circling. I know you're starting to rationalize and hedge
No,
and be politically correct. Be
No, I'm
honest.
not being politically correct. I feel like yes, a lot of it sometimes Instagram also dictates that do this, do that, or put a particular kind of story or a particular kind of photo, or click it in a certain way because I've seen somebody else I follow do that. Um, but I feel like now when I'm posting out, because I post a lot more in general, whether when I'm traveling, I feel like there is a inherent sort of thing in my head that, hey, you didn't put any stories, yeah, we didn't see only what you did. And because of that, and there's because of that, it's a voice in my head that goes like, if you didn't put it on the gram, it didn't happen, it only happened in your head. And because of that, sometimes I feel like there's a very thin line between the experiences that I'm actually living versus the experiences I'm putting on social media, because I'm not being able to, like, some experiences are for me and some experiences are for everybody to see that, hey, I did this.
You say it's different, and you said two things which I actually want to know more about. One is you said there's one reality which is the experience you lived, and then there's one reality which is you put. Be honest. Have you ever said you had fun doing something when you've not?
It was nice. It was nice only.
It was good. Good fun.
Good fun, yeah. Yeah, it was
So,
nice.
a bad trip and a bad date at the same, literal same experiences.
Oh God, yeah. I've gone to
That's how
certain
most of my
places.
first dates go, by the way. It was good. Nice
Nice.
only.
Yeah, okay. What to say more than that? But yeah, no, I've done that.
Which
I've
was it? Well, don't give me vague answers.
very recent. I went to Bali last year, and we went for the Ubud swing, the swing that is there, and we were very excited. We were like, "Oh, fun! We're gonna go and we're gonna do this." And it's a swing, right? So it goes from like you do like, over the rice fields, and you go and you do it. And I and we did it. It was nice.
Nice only.
Like the whole swing happened, and I it was nice.
The photo was gorgeous.
Yeah,
but it
the
was
photo
nice.
was gorgeous. The photo was amazing.
Some things.
I think I have it framed somewhere in my head, but
I-
it was nice.
I also want to ask you something you mentioned earlier is that I will take a photo the way an Instagrammer takes it. Because I know you have your own photographic eye and cinematic way of looking at the world. Does it not feel like you're recreating that person's
Memory.
view and memory than making your own? Like, have you ever tried to do it or struggled with that kind of dissonance?
I think it comes from a space of feeling like your view isn't as good enough because you're already replicating someone who's already done something, and you're like, that person evidently seems like had fun, so I'll also try to do it in that way, because then at least I know that I got something where I had fun.
So it's like a complicated relationship
it's
because then you're also sometimes not having the actual
Yeah,
fun
then
in that process.
Yeah, then versus when I'm doing something on my own, it could be the shittiest photo, but in my head it's the best memory.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think I struggle with that a little bit here and there, where I feel that to have a picture perfect moment versus actually having a moment, you know, like that
Real
is
line.
yeah, that is something where I felt that maybe, you know what, some of some of your experiences are secondhand because you're living somebody else's vision of it, and then the experience that you're living firsthand, you don't want to document them to a lot of people because you feel like they're too personal. Like I'll only show what I feel comfortable showing because it's already been done, versus if I show something that I genuinely had fun and somebody shits on it, then I'll have a thought in my head that did I really have fun, or am I not really doing things the way they're supposed to be done? Because this one said that and that one said that. I deal with a little bit of that, those kind of pressures. So I feel there I'm a little, I'm walking on like a tightrope. I'm like, I could fall either ways, but I'm managing. One with a tripod, one with my iPhone.
Sometimes I feel like what I experience is not cool enough to talk about. Like, if you tell me, Prakriti, what you liked in Japan, I will say, oh, I skipped a lunch in Osaka and I just searched for bookstores around me because I want to do my general bookstore browsing. And I found that Kinokuniya, which is the world's best bookstore, was 3 minutes away.
Wow.
And for me, that's like such a happy memory. I was going to be very regretful that I missed Kinokuniya in Japan.
And then I would say, what a nerd.
Yeah, see, you would indulge in the nerdiness. Some would just be like, okay, so what?
Yeah.
So what if
It's a
you went?
bookstore.
It's a bookstore and you just stumble into like, why is that the story? And it's like a lame story. But it brought such joy to me that I literally couldn't contain my excitement. And I was like, who do I tell? And then I put it on Purple Corner community because I know that they would appreciate book discoveries. Something you enjoy, but it has not been popularly narrated. You feel like it's maybe not cool enough to narrate to the world then.
Yeah.
And what you were speaking about social media made me think about it, that this is tourist. This as in not what you do, but this one side of social media influence travel is tourism, because you've been told that, okay, this symbolizes this country. If you don't go to Tokyo, if you go to Tokyo, you must go to Tokyo Tower. That's a symbol of Tokyo.
Right.
And that's a tourist spot versus I love Family Mart.
Who would go to
But
Japan and go to a Family Mart?
But I genuinely found so much joy when we found out like the Family Mart is just across from our hotel. And I find like traveling is so much of keeping your arms open, letting that unfamiliarity change you, mold you, and being okay with it and not craving for, oh, I want to go home. Oh, I'm in USA, I want Pani Puri, I miss Pani Puri.
When my brother went to the UK, he moved to the UK and he moved in 2011. And at that point, he was very excited to go because he really wanted to go there and it was his whole thing. And the first thing when he went there, a lot of our relatives that time on Skype and stuff would ask him, "Do you miss like varan bhat? Do you miss ghar ki dal? Do you miss this? Do you miss that?" In the odors, of course, nostalgia. And my brother would just casually go like, "No,
That's why he's
I'm
just
very
smarter.
happy having a double cheeseburger, or I'm very happy cooking something that I want to cook, which I can get locally done." But no, if you're asking me if I miss it, I don't miss it.
That's why he's the smarter Rane.
That is a separate conversation.
Traveling you can do if you're open enough to the newness of the place. If you truly just stay in the present and say, oh, like the plants are different, the air is different, the water is different, ingredients are different, and so and like histories make the people who they are, right?
Mm.
Why is crime rate so low in Japan? Why do people obey the rules so differently? When people say travel changed me, that's the travel they're talking about. They're not talking about I went to Chicago and went to the Bean and took 5 photos.
Or taking 5 photos the way I would take them.
Or have deep dish pizza. That's not going to make Chicago Chicago for you. That's just going to be like a checklist. That's going to be a tourist thing you did.
What would you tell somebody, and that somebody is me, who feels that they're not doing enough when they go on? What would you say to them?
I'm not wise enough to do that. For me, it's very monetary. Is this worth my money? Because I've come, like I said, I've seen privilege shape up with time. So it's very important. Like I'm spending a couple of lakh rupees on this trip. It has to be worth it. I can't say yes for the sake of it. I can't be spending, I don't have the luxury to spend 2 lakh rupees just because, oh, my friends were going and could not say no.
Vibes.
I can't do that for the vibe. It's not sitting right with me that you spend all that money. You have the guilt of not your family not being able to necessarily afford it all the time, or you know, at the same time as you do. And then I go, then I don't even enjoy it. Like I owe it to myself to have the best fun and the best time in a different place. So I say Japan was different because I went into it blind saying I'm just going on a trip with family. I didn't make a big deal out of Japan being Japan.
Do it for the plot.
Do it for the plot. Do it for the family. Literally, this was do it for the family. And then I went to Japan and I discovered, wow, okay, this is cool. And yes, the bidets are really cool. And it's very nice to sit on a hot toilet seat after a cold walk in the park.
Privilege.
But, and Donkey is cool because you have all these cool products. And Uniqlo is cool because it's half the price if I would pay for a top here. And the roads are very clean and people are always walking and the air is so much nicer. And I just took Japan as it came to me. I walked around the neighborhood and was like, oh, the manhole covers, we call them manholes, but the sewage covers, they're all decorated.
Yeah, yeah.
They all have this little
I've seen
intricate.
this on Instagram.
I had not, but I discovered it, observed it my way, and
Mm.
it still somehow overlapped with what is trending, but I spotted it. And that joy is much more. I found out, and I didn't know this before going, but every public and most private institutions will also have free stamping in Japan, where it's just it's an artistic stamp, and a lot of like nerds will carry blank books, and they'll stamp their trip through. So everywhere you go, you put a stamp on that book, and that's like
Yeah,
nice
that's
way to
so
mark your
sweet.
itinerary.
That's
And I
nice.
found that because a 14-year-old girl on the trip was doing it, and and I was like, oh, that's cool.
I think travel made me a bit more selfish in terms of the kind of moments that I want to live. I feel like what I learned in all my travel is that because I've gone to some really gorgeous places over the past couple of years, and I remember when I was in Kashmir, I was on top of like a mountain, and it was the most beautiful, place that I could be. And my brother was not on that trip, and I felt like knowing how he is, I felt like he would probably love it. Like it's so nice for him to see it, and I could have called him up and shown him the place, but instead I told myself, I'm going to live in this moment. I'm going to take it in. I'm going to push down the guilt of him not being here experiencing this with me, but live it fully, go back and narrate it to him with the exact moment like I am there, rather than calling him up, showing it to him being half present at that point on the video call, or me being half present in the process to show him the right, locate like the right view so he'll enjoy the mountain in my view or whatever. I think that it made me understand that while I would hopefully take my family friends everywhere to places, beautiful places in the world, but
Big caravan
yeah,
traveling
big caravan going everywhere.
14
But-
tents pitched
Yes.
hitched
But I
to
think
each other.
that really taught me to be that it's okay to have certain
Like
moments that are selfish for yourself, and you can only keep them for you, and just do this. If you're doing something for yourself, you do it something for yourself,
do it fully for
rather than
yourself.
feeling that, oh, I wish this would have happened and this would have been better. No, try to make the most of it, because if you're there for a reason. So live it.
You basically answered your question that you posed to me.
Wow.
Traveling comes to us as a pre-written story. You go to Japan, you do these things. You go to Bali, you do these things. And there's a lot more joy in just writing the story for yourself.
Yeah.
That I went to Japan and I did these things. Take it or leave it.
Hmm.
I did it.
Hmm.
You can take that advice, or you
Mm.
cannot. I did this my way. Frank Sinatra moment.